everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining me on Tinker with Tana. Today's fun project is going to be building a doggy diner. So let's get out to the shop and get started. So for this project, I am going to take this stool apart and use its legs because it's got some nice turned wood legs. And this is some oak from a broken entertainment center that someone was throwing out. So my next step is to cut these down to the sizes I need. This one I need to cut down to 45 inches, which is good because I need to cut that ugly messed up piece off. And then I'm going to cut some holes for my pans to sit in and put this nice trim on the sides. It's got some nice detail in there. So I'm going to cut those down, these down on the table saw, this down on the miter saw, and before I start that, I'm going to go ahead and take this apart. So our next step is I need to drill holes, cut some holes in here for these pans. These are just some commercial pans. You can get them at a commercial supply store. I bought these at the Costco Business Center. So I'm going to measure these out, drill some holes, and use my saw to cut a hole in there. Perfect. Okay, I'll do that for all holes and we will sand it down and go from there. Now that I've got my holes cut in my board for my water pan and my food dishes, I am going to use my favorite sander and smooth out the edges real quick. And then after that, we will be adding our trim around the edges and cutting our legs to fit. Okay, now I'm going to use some wood glue and nail gun and glue this trim on. I'm going to start on these ends because I have those matching right at the end. I've got all four legs cut down. I'm ready to install. I was hesitating because I want the legs white and antique and then do this oak part a dark stain, so kind of opposite of what it is here. So for the legs, I'm going to glue them and then nail them with the nailer. I was pretty surprised that that stool was so sturdy, being it was just put together with a nail gun. As I was taking it apart, I noticed. But I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then if I have any issues, I'll drill some holes and put some screws in. But I think that will be enough. The dogs aren't going to be sitting on it. It's just going to hold food and water. So get started on that. Put a little glue down. So to hold it in place first, I'm going to use this shorter nailer, catch it right on the inside here. And got this longer nailer. Oh, I got glue everywhere. Yeah, maybe I'll do this one. Well, on the outside here. So I will go ahead and do that to all four corners, and then we'll go from there. Well, now I've got that. Got a nice fit with my feed pans. I sanded it lightly. I'm going to I just did very light little sanding, but I'm going to let the glue dry, and then I will stain the top and paint the legs. So I've got this all dry fitted together. Looks like everything's going to fit well. My feet pants fit right in there real nice. The next step, I need to let the glue dry a little better for my legs. And then once that's set up, I will use some dark stain on the top and paint the legs white and just kind of antique them a little bit and see how the dogs like it. Well, I decided on this Java gel stain. This is the color of my cabinets in the house, so that's why I decided to do the top with this stain, and then I am going to paint these legs white, and antique them a little bit, make them look aged. That way, as they get beat up, it just looks nice. When I stain, I like to use these thick chemical gloves that I get at Harbor Freight. You get a big pack, not too much, but it's well worth it. Not going to worry about getting it on the legs because I'm going to come back and get the legs painted white. Okay, got my white paint. If you saw my other videos, you'll see that I like to keep my paint out of the gallon cans. I just pour some of it into these creamer containers. They work great because they have a nice pour spout. Another tip is Dollar Tree has these paint brushes. They're $1.25 with tax, $1.35 here in Vegas, but it's nice if you don't like to clean up. You can just throw it away when you're done. I usually use them a couple of times, but if I use oil-based paint, I use one of those and I throw it away. It's no big deal. So this is just a mushroom container. I'm going to pour my paint in here and work out of this mushroom container. Let's get some paint going. Paint my forelegs. Probably do a coat, let it dry, and then do another coat. So I'll get started on that. So I will continue with that and do all 4 legs. And I'll check back with you when I'm done. I want to show you a little tip. When I take a break from painting and I know I need to do a second coat, I get a garbage bag and I put a clip on there, but before I do that, I get a paper towel pretty wet, set it in there, then I twist it tight, put a clip on there, and then it will stay nice and moist in there until I come back to paint again. So, go ahead and open up my paint. Bag, so I set that aside, and let's get that second coat of paint on there. That looks so much better once we got the second coat on. On the legs, I did a coat of white paint, let it dry an hour, did a second coat of white paint, flat white paint, let it dry an hour, and then I took a wet cloth. I got it real wet, wrung it out real good, and then I just wet distressed it and rubbed off where I wanted the color to show through, so it looked a little bit aged and antiqued. And then I let it dry for 24 hours. So now the paint is not going to wash off.
Here I am using 2 coats of polyacrylic to protect my finish. After letting the polyacrylic dry for 24 hours, I brought it in the house for my dogs to try. They love it. Another beautiful, useful project completed. I am so happy with how this turned out. Thank you for watching. Please join me next time for another fun project.